moving on to some spring football and the guys that are already on the team. This offense has not met the standard of Clemson football since Trevor Lawrence walked off campus with two different just the one offensive coordinator and Tony Elliott. Well, then they had Brandon Streeter after Elliott, of course, left for Virginia. So they're trying guy number 3. And he had a nice season, of course, with Max Duggan and company and Garrett Riley. So Clemson fans are starved to hear something's different, something's better. It's all improved. It's all fixed.
Well, if you listen to the players, man, they love it. It sounds like they are absolutely in love with this scheme Garrett Riley's brought to Clemson. And if you listen to the coaches talk about it, and the players talk about it some too, but you hear that word simplicity mentioned a lot. And it's a word we heard mentioned a lot last spring when Brandon Streeter took over. They cut a lot of things and they were trying to make it more simple. But Kyle Richardson, met with the media the other day, and he went into detail a little bit more about what they meant by simplicity. Like last year, they were cutting stuff. The playbook was so big and there was so much stuff in there accumulated over the years that they don't even use anymore. Players having to remember stuff that, they weren't ever going to use, and they were trying to cut a lot of that back. That's what they meant by getting more simple last year. This year, a lot less plays, no more option routes that they introduced last year where a receiver had the choice to run the route to the right or run it to the left based on what the defense was showing. No more of that this year. So really trimming a lot of fat with this new offense. There's nothing from the old offense that's going to remain in the new offense. So it's entirely new. This is all Garrett Riley now. And I think, listening to these tight ends, they think Clemson's going to start attacking the middle of the field more, something they have really gotten away from over the past few years. And listening to Will Shipley talk the other day, it sounds like they are going to use him in a multitude of ways, which they already did, but it sounds like they're going to expand on that even more. 2 back sets, getting him and Moff on the field at the same time, lining Shipley up out wide, maybe both those guys out wide, getting Shipley far more involved in the passing game. And he's a dynamic player. That is a kid that can absolutely catch the football, whether you line him up in the slot or run him out of the backfield. But based on what Clemson's done on offense the past 2 seasons, it is hard not to like what you're hearing coming out of spring ball. Riley is going to be on the sidelines. He's not going to be in the booth. Clemson's offensive coordinator has been in the booth for years. Not going to have the big cards on the sideline anymore. So that'll be something they're going away from. He's going to signal the plays in himself. They want to be able to go fast when they want to go fast. Wouldn't expect this to be like one of the fastest offenses in the country or anything like that. But if there are times when they want to pick up the tempo, they're going to be able to do it. You're going to see it at times.
Well, Jason, of course, Dabo grew up through the ranks on the offensive side of the ball. How much does he talk about his involvement?
He was actually asked about this, in his press conference the day spring practice started, and he said he was going to remain as involved as he's always been. But this is Garrett Riley's show, make no mistake. If Dabo was going to be heavy-handed and trying to control aspects of the offense, I'm not sure Garrett Riley's here. I think he's been handed the keys and say, hey, we need to overhaul this thing. You do what you got to do, and if you need my help, I'm over here. I think that's the way this thing's playing out from the way it sounds. I don't think Dabo's over anybody's shoulder saying do this, do that. I think he's just there kind of overseeing and to lend a helping hand. I'm not saying you won't see him with a play sheet in his hand this year. We've seen that in years past. But I don't think, even if you see that, I don't think that means he's going to be there calling plays or anything.